So, the big question, why do I not use Spirit the Deer? Well, it's for a few different reasons, honestly. So first and foremost, this will get into a little bit of a deeper topic, excuse me. But this will get into deeper discussions. First and foremost, being trans. The big thing for me is, so Spirit has a very strong tie to femininity and that general presentation, as it were. So when people see Spirit, they see her as being very feminine, being very beautiful, and the whole thing with her design is that she's a female deer with antlers. So I have tried in the past to make a version of Spy that is masculine. I've tried to make it fit, and it wasn't working. And I think another reason for that I was dealing with for a while, my most recent iteration of Spy, I actually kind of like, but another struggle I was facing was the fact that Spy's design was something that I was struggling with taking satisfaction in. My big thing as an artist, and I'm sure other artists understand this, is wanting to be satisfied with the designs that you draw, the designs that represent you. And Spy as a character is almost 10 years old. I've had her since 2015. So the big thing to note is that back then, in 2015, I was a very different person than I am nowadays. And I think changing Sonas and changing our online representation, whether it be a PNG tuber or our VTuber avatars, whatever you're going with, should be a normal thing, because we change as we grow up and get older, and I grew up making content. So, looking back at Spy then versus me now, like, I'm not gonna say it's completely different people, but I am a very different person compared to what I was in high school and the early days of college, so my interests have changed, my artistic skills have improved, and while I love Spy to death, she isn't the kind of character that I would design nowadays compared to back then. Like, for instance, even with my Spectral Wings dragons, even as I update them, they have remnants of that design philosophy, but as you can see, they've been brought up to date. But another issue that I had, and a content warning for, I guess we'll call it sexual misconduct. I have had cases in the past where people have been behaving inappropriately towards me, and that's a byproduct of using Spy, the character. And it's an unfortunate case that, people who present femininely online, a lot of AFAB creators especially, will end up dealing with these kinds of comments, and obviously since then, I don't present femininely anymore as I discovered I was trans, but it's something that I feel needs to be said, that it's inappropriate to behave or make sexual comments towards a creator, especially someone you don't know personally, you know? So that was kind of, I was tired of people developing parasocial relationships with me because of my character, because everybody online, even here and now, when I'm speaking off the cuff and speaking in a stream, the way that I talk in streams is very different from the way that I talk outside of streams and outside of videos. So that's kind of one thing, is that people only see a tiny fraction of what content creators are like through their characters versus who they are. And for instance, I've discovered a lot about myself as I've gotten older. Like, for instance, I discovered I'm on the A spectrum, discovering I was trans, and it's just one of those things where I grow uncomfortable when people make comments about that, about me, because I guess it feels very objectifying, like, even through a character, you know? Yeah, Ren, you make a very good point, and it's just, it's one of a multitude of reasons, and I know this is obviously, like, it's not ideal, because I know people got attached to Spy, but the more that I grew as a person, and the more experiences I had, and the more I kept making content, the more I felt detached to her, and I didn't feel like she represented me anymore. Especially, like, you'll see in the last season of Art Block, Spy actually had a binder on their chest, because I'm actually making Spy canonically non-binary now, but yeah, they had a binder on their chest, and that was kind of, you'll notice that was starting to be the point. It's just like, okay, my interests are changing, the way that I present myself is changing. So that's more or less the main reasons why I don't use Spy as a character anymore. But, and yes, thank you for the congratulations. I had a very big fear, honestly speaking, of coming out online, because especially as someone who presented as feminine online for a long time, I was afraid that me coming out as trans would have lost people's interest in me, more or less. Because that's the thing, when you're a content creator, I hate to say it, but some people follow you because of your persona or because of how you present online. And I have lost people that were just following me for being feminine, as it were. So it's just, it is what it is, and for anyone out there who's, like, struggling on their transition or wants to make a change, just go for it. Don't worry about what other people are going to think about you. And I know I've gone on a tangent while I haven't been drawing, but it's something to be said, you know?